Well, guys, it's been a while. Yo, what is going on, everybody? Welcome to the Phillies video cast. Today we're going to be having a little baseball talk about the Phils as we welcome back Noah to the VCast. It's been a while. I believe this is the first time we've had you on since like September 2019. So, Noah, it's been a while. Welcome back, man.
Thanks for having me, Luke.
Yeah, of course. Now, guys, before we get into this video, please subscribe yet, not yet. Please turn on the notification bell. Please like this video, comment on this video, share this video, and let's get into this. So, last time I had you on here, we were talking about how bad the Phillies, played in September. That was way back, as I said, in 2019. And I believe I actually went back and watched that video very recently, and it seemed like you were actually pretty hopeful about the Phillies' chances back then. But so heading into this year, I'm just going to let you take it away here. How do you feel about this Phillies team, and how confident are you in their playoff chances and possibly winning this division? I don't think it's very likely, or possibly sneaking into the wild card spot. How about that for a sec?
Well, Luke, we're in a really tough division, and I think we have a good roster if you don't look at the bullpen.
Right.
But,
yeah, I agree. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, honestly, the bullpen's not the worst I've ever seen, but it's still not where it needs to be.
I mean, it's not a playoff.
It's not. It's not.
We're not good enough to win a 5-game series against
I'm with you on that.
The Braves.
Yeah, it's not. It's not at all. They definitely would outmatch us, and you really do bring up a good point there. But I like some of the additions they made. I think the Archie Bradley, pickup was great, but I think that they made a big mistake by not signing one of Brad Hand, Liam Hendricks. I understand that Blake Trout doesn't have great numbers the past couple of years, but I think they made a big mistake by not choosing at least one of those guys. Would you agree?
Oh yeah.
I think you need someone to solidify that back into the bullpen because they haven't really taken the bull by the horn and really addressed that issue fully. So I agree with you. I am pretty concerned about that, but I think we all know how terrible the Phillies bullpen was in 2020. But just to kind of reiterate, how much does this pain you to watch the Phillies bullpen just blow so many games back in 2020?
It's aggravating.
Yeah, it was. It was.
We get these leads and we just give them up. And
I know it was pathetic. I mean we lose so many running leads, and it just was so frustrating. I thought that they could. I mean, I remember even some games that we still won, but we were up by 7 runs. Yeah. It was just
it puts too much pressure on us.
Oh, it does. It's
like
so much pressure.
Even the games we win.
I think some of the issues with the bullpen did flow from the starting rotation with our starters not going deep enough in the games because the starting rotation has an impact on the bullpen any way you're going to look at it. Let's just start off with starting rotation a bit. With the signing of Chase Anderson and the signing of Matt Moore, and of course, Jake Odorizzi went to the Houston Astros on a 2-year deal. I was hoping that the Phillies would sign him. Unfortunately, to no avail. He goes to the Houston Astros. So it looks like we will be seeing Matt Moore in the Phillies starting rotation, the first lefty in the Phillies starting rotation since 2015 with Cole Hamels. So it's been quite a while. How do you feel about this starting rotation heading into the 2021 season with Zach Eflin and Zach Wheeler and Aaron Nola at the top?
I don't feel terrible about it.
Same.
I mean, in a playoff series, I don't feel comfortable only going too deep with legit good starters. But
because I like Eflin, but he's not legit yet.
I think
he's going to be good this year, but he's not there yet.
He could be a good playoff pitcher. I think he could hold up in a series, but we're a couple pitching players away.
I am with you 100%.
But we're good.
Yeah, especially once you get down to the bottom with Chase Anderson and Matt Moore, that's just not it. It's just not. And the only thing I like about Matt Moore is that he's a lefty. If he wasn't a lefty, I'd be going harder on him. But I'm glad at least he's a lefty. But anytime you see former All-Star, it's usually not a good sign. But exactly. But how do you feel about a lot has been brought up about Aaron Nola, not being able to pitch in a big game. And I could see that a little bit. I mean, you go back and I think one of the biggest games he's pitched in was last September against the Tampa Bay Rays, and that did not go so well. The Phillies playoff chances were leaning on Aaron Nola start, and he had a pretty bad start. So how do you feel about Aaron Nola in a big game? Let's say a wild card game. Do you trust Aaron Nola in a big game?
Well, I think the thing about that is it's just hard to pitch against good teams. The better.
Yeah, and we haven't really seen it yet. That was just one example. He's never pitched.
We haven't been in a lot of them, but it's hard to pitch against good hitters.
It is. It's very tough.
It gets harder the harder your level of competition is.
Right. That's exactly right.
It's true
There's
for
no
every
question.
pitcher.
Yeah, exactly. It also
It's the
depends
same
on,
thing with Kershaw. It's the same thing with
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
everybody.
Yeah, so you saw how bad he was in the postseason prior to 2020. Of course, he had a very, very good 2020 postseason, but not as kind to him, years prior. But Zach Wheeler, you want to just totally disregard what he did yesterday against the New York Yankees. That doesn't really mean anything. But overall, I think he was. I'll just give my take here. I think Zach Wheeler was amazing 2020. I think he just was amazing. I mean, he definitely was worth all the
Phenomenal
money we
year.
paid him. I mean, unbelievable. So just how about that for a sec? How do you feel about Zach Wheeler heading into
I feel very comfortable with
Same
Zach
here.
Wheeler.
Yeah.
I'm perfectly fine with him being
Yeah,
the
same
second
here.
pitcher.
Yeah, the only thing I will say is he's not a strikeout pitcher,
Oh
so he
no.
doesn't allow a
But
lot of solid contact. So that could be a bit of a problem for him. So if he could stay out of trouble and keep the ball down, I think he's going to be fine. Of course, you don't want to elevate any balls at Citizens Bank Park, but if you could just keep the ball down, I think he's just going to be just fine. But one guy I really want to talk about is Zach Eflin, who really took a big step in 2020. His inconsistencies really do scare me. I mean, he could go on a stretch where he's the kind of guy who really can just go the whole entire way. You've seen how many complete games that he's thrown. That's one thing I love about Zach Eflin. But one of the biggest problems is, as I said, his inconsistencies, his highs and his lows are so dramatic. There's no gray with Zach Eflin. It's either great or terrible. Go back and look at July of 2019. I mean, my, that was one of the worst starts I think I've ever seen against the Atlanta Braves. He was just absolutely terrible. As I said, he took a big step in 2020 because he didn't really have one horrific start in 2020. He was very, very good in 2020. He wasn't like he had an all-star year, but he took a big step forward. If he could just be more consistent, I think he's going to do great for us this year. So how do you feel about Zach Eflin heading into the 2021 season, Noah?
the season only being 60 games worries me a little bit, but
Yep, same.
Just about the consistency thing.
Yeah.
But hopefully it'll just be permanently fixed.
Yeah, I think one thing you're trying to say is it was only 60-game season, so we didn't get to see him over a 162-game span. So we don't know what that's like, because honestly, he's never really had like a full season in the rotation. Kind of going up and down a little bit. I think 2019 was like his only year that he was in there for the most time. So his inconsistencies, as you said and as I said, do scare me a little bit. But anything else you'd like to add about this star rotation?
The thing that I love about Wheeler is he can go really deep in games.
He can, yeah. Because he's a pitch to contact out, yeah.
Too. It helps the bullpen a lot when you.
It does. As I said before, the part of star rotation flows into the bullpen because if you guys like Vinny V are going 4 or 5 innings, then it's going to put a lot of innings on that bullpen. As opposed to you're going 7-8 innings, then it's going to be less innings your bullpen is going to have to throw.
I've been a Vinny V fan forever, but I wish he would just be a bullpen guy now.
Yeah, but the problem is he isn't going to work in the bullpen because he goes 4 or 5 innings and throws 100+ pitches. It's one thing if he was going 4 or 5 innings, throwing 50, 60 pitches, but because he's throwing 100+ pitches because he can't locate. If he was going 60, 70 pitches, you got to be he's just getting tired. But the reason why he can't go any further is because he can't locate, so his pitch count goes way up. So that's
you throw more balls. It sends it back.
He walks a ton of people. Yeah, his
People
walks.
get on base. You got to get out of that problem.
Insanely bad.
It just snowballs.
Yeah, insanely bad. Yeah, I'm so glad we're not going to see him in the star rotation this year because manager Joe Girardi said there will not be a 6-man rotation in 2021 for the Phillies, which is very, very good news. There was some talk about that to take the workload off. Of our starting staff. So we're going to be talking a little bit about how our off season went. We kind of talked about the pitching side of this, but let's talk about the JT Realmuto and Didi Gregorius. We got to sign JT Realmuto back on that 5-year deal. How excited were you when we finally got the BCIB back?
I kind of freaked out. I'm not going to lie. I got a little worried that we weren't going to get him back. But
same here. Yeah, I was for a while. I think towards the beginning was when I was the most scared because when the Mets, before they went out and signed James McCann, I for sure thought that Realmuto would go to the Mets. But once the Mets went out and signed James McCann, it was almost like a sigh of relief. All right, well, that takes a big running out for JT. So, but I was really, really stoked. So, how do you feel about the contract? 5 years, $115 million. How did you feel about the contract, and how do you feel? How do you think he's going to age well? Obviously now entering his age 30 season, how do you think he's going to perform in Philly for the next 5 years?
He's a catcher, so you always worry about
Yeah,
longevity.
but he's so athletic. That's the thing. He's
Yeah,
not your
yeah.
typical catcher. He can run. He's not like Wilson Ramos. He's
He can lose a little bit
yeah,
of long.
exactly.
He can lose a
Yeah,
little bit of athleticism.
yeah, exactly. He will. There's no question because it's just a natural decline. But because he's just such a special player and such a special athlete, it's just like I love that because he can run, hit field. I mean, he's just a complete package. So, by far the BCIB. And with Didi Gregorius, he showed me a lot in 2020. I was not personally a big fan when we signed him after the 2019 season. From the New York Yankees, had a pretty down year. I was concerned, about his health, and it was a 60-game season. It was a 60-game season. So it wasn't a full 162. So hopefully he could remain healthy in 2021 and 2022. But we signed him back to a 2-year deal. $24 million. I love this move because Didi, as I said, showed me a lot. His defense is not great, but offensively he's one of the best offensive shortstops in all of baseball. And as I said, if he could stay healthy, man, that guy can get 25 to 30 home runs for you. So how do you feel about this Didi signing, and how do you think he's going to perform over the next 2 years in Philly?
He's a part of a really good lineup.
He is.
And he's a big piece for us.
He is, and I love that little stroke he has. Like, it's just so
Oh
short
yeah,
and sweet. Yeah,
it's a nice swing. Swing.
He's really nice, and I think it's so important to have Didi because he helps balance out our lineup. So that way it's not too right-handed heavy. Because if you just have Bryce in there, and of course Adam Hazley can't stay healthy, but now you're gonna have two everyday position players in there. Are going to be hitting from the left side, so it's pretty important to have that. Yeah. It's pretty important. But speaking of Adam Hazley, as we kind of move on here to the offensive side of the Phils, groin strain out for 3 weeks, might miss opening day. The injuries just are a huge problem for Adam Hazley. And how do you feel about his future? Not just this year, but his future with the Phils. Could you see that, really just being hindered by his injuries?
If he can stay healthy, I really like him as a player. I think he's got some potential. He could be a quality bat for us.
I agree. Yeah, I agree too. If he could just stay healthy and kind of clean up some of his inconsistencies, I think he could definitely improve his defense. I think he could be a really solid player here. But the problem is he can't stay on the field. Yeah, and it looks like we'll get into Odubel Herrera in a sec. But I'm going to go at first base. Going to go look at Rhys Hoskins, who had he started off last year really, really just terrible. We all know he's an on-base machine. I give him a lot of credit for that, but. I was just pretty disappointed, with his start at the beginning of last season, but he really turned it on prior to him having that horrible elbow injury at Marlins Park in Miami. But how do you feel about Rhys Hoskins heading into the 2021 season, coming off of that Tommy John surgery? You got to see him play the other day against the New York Yankees in that 15-0 win. How do you think he's going to perform? Do you think he's going to, I expect him to, keep that on-base streak at an on-base pace that he's at, drawing a lot of walks, being patient. I like that, but, you don't want to be overly patient. But how do you think he's going to do, this year?
I think he started to find himself late in that season, but sadly he got hurt and we didn't get to see it fully come together.
Yeah, that's the problem.
Yeah, he's looked good in spring training.
Oh, he's looked great. Yeah.
I could see him going either way.
Same.
I would lean towards good Rhys Hoskins.
Yeah.
But I could definitely.
Yeah. I honestly, because as I was going to say before, his inconsistencies also scare me because he's one of these guys can go on an insanely hot stretch, carry the team, for like a few weeks, and then he'll be ice cold for a few weeks. I mean, we saw it in 2019, one of the most dramatic, up and down I think I've ever seen. That was just insane. The first half, unbelievable. Second half, nowhere to be seen. So. If the Phillies are going to have, at least, their chances of, making the playoffs are going to be increased if Rhys Hoskins can, be a more consistent player in 2021. As we move around the time here, move to second base. You a big Gene Segura guy?
I love Gene Segura.
Yeah,
I love Gene Segura.
I wish he'd be more of a team player though, and kind of hustle balls out more.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, exactly. But he's a hit machine. But I wish that he would, go a little more, hard out of the box. But his defense all right. But I think that what it is with Gene. I was a little bit concerned he just turned into more of a singles hitter like a Ben Revere. But he needs to continue to hit a lot more doubles like he was in 2019. because like he led the Phillies in doubles in 2019. So
Yep.
I think Jean Segura may be a tad underrated, but because no one really ever talks about him. He's a hit machine. But as I said,
He's
there's
got a
concerns
nice
that he might
swing.
turn into a single hitter.
He's
Yeah,
another guy with a nice swing. I
he
love
does
him.
have a nice swing. Yeah,
I've
Ryan
liked
Howard's
him
like
forever.
he's like head over heels like about Jean Segura. Like he likes like talks nothing but good about him. He says he loves watching him hit, so that's good. Moving over to third base, shining light, Alec Baum, who had himself an amazing breakout 2020 season coming into the bigs. And you were one of the guys that advocated for him to be called up early, and I thought you were crazy. And turns out you were right. So how about you give your thoughts on Alec Baum for a sec?
I've loved Alec Baum since the first day I watched him in college.
Same.
I'm so happy that he turned out to be everything that I dreamed he could be. He's gonna be a great player if he can keep going.
He really, I mean, honestly, yeah, I'm with you 100%. I mean, he needs to clean up his defense a little bit, but, we don't really need him to hit a lot of home runs because we have guys that are going to hit homers on this team, like Bryce and Rhys, and even JT and D. So we don't really need to hit the ball at the ballpark at an alarming rate. I mean, he has a simple approach, gets the job done. And a player that he really reminds me of offensively is Anthony Rendon of the Los Angeles Angels. He really just has a simple approach. I mean, like it's like one of the simplest approaches I think I've ever seen. And Alec Boone reminds me a lot of him.
What did he bat last year? Wasn't he 330?
So yeah, I was around there. Yeah,
338?
exactly. I think that's what it was. Yeah.
Yeah, 338.
Yeah. Oh, I just got word former Phillies relief pitcher Rio Comer died today after courageous battle with cancer, 53 years old. Rest in peace. Just got word.
That's sad.
Yeah, it is very sad. But moving on here, out to right field with my favorite player, the free agent prize of the 2018-2019 offseason, Bryce Harper. We talked a lot about him when you came on last time. It's obviously been a while. How do you feel about Bryce heading into 2021 season? A lot of high expectations, of course, every single year. The eyes are always on him. How do you feel about him?
He's a star. He's
amazing.
A great player. You can't really say enough about him. When he's on, he's one of the best players in the league.
Mm-hmm. Yes,
he was really hot to start last year, and
the back injury. Yeah, no one ever really talks about that.
If he didn't get hurt, it was going to be a special season.
Oh, it was. Yeah, I mean, honestly, that's why we need him healthy going into this. I mean, we're already spring training is already underway, but we need him healthy going into this, regular season, which is coming up in less than a month now. I agree with you. I mean, Bryce could get back to his 2019, defensive, peak that he was at. I mean, he was amazing in 2019 out there in the field. If he could, get back, somewhere close to his 2015 offensive ability, and that would just be really just a special season. So hopefully, he could stay healthy and, get back to that. So, moving to center field, a bit of a question mark. You could pretty much cross Roman Quinn and Adam Hazley's name, off of the running. That Scott Kingery is going to get some time out there, due to the versatility and due to the righty-lefty situation. Roman Quinn is too, but I think, the guy a lot of people are talking about this, heading into camp, and, now that camp is already underway. Odubel Herrera, he was suspended in 2019, May of 2019 for domestic violence against his girlfriend. So, returning, I may tell you what, he has had himself a great start to the spring. So how do you feel about Odubel? I know you're a Odubel fan heading into the 2021 season, Noah.
I know what he did was terrible, but I can't stop loving him. Just the swing is amazing.
It is good. Yeah, it's very good.
The whole do so much with your body and still wind up hitting. Remember when he had that?
It's pretty fascinating, actually.
Remember when he had that 40-day on base streak?
Yeah, it was in 2018. At the beginning. Yeah, that was amazing. Yeah. That was insane.
I always wish that I find myself awake at night thinking, what if Odubel can do that consistently?
Yeah, exactly. Consistently, that's exactly right. And I think that you are most likely going to see him get this everyday job out there. I mean, going into the season, I think you're probably going to see him be opening day center fielder because Roman Quinn just isn't, starting material. Adam Hazley can't stay healthy, and he probably won't even be ready for opening day. So, I mean, Odubel's your guy. Odubel's your guy. I mean,
he's a really talented player.
He is. He's very talented. Yeah, he's just kind of crazy, but he's just kind of a funny guy.
He can make some plays and he can do some stupid stuff.
Yep. So wrapping it up here with Andrew McCutchen. He just didn't really see himself last year coming off of that ACL tear. I really expect him to be fully healthy and back to that Andrew McCutchen like he was in 2019 with the insane on base ability. I'm gonna tell you what, that guy was I think he was on pace to set the record for the most walks out of a leadoff hitter. So how do you feel about the 2013 MVP Kutch heading into the 2021 season? Of course, we all know he's not the same player.
He's getting up there in age, but
He is.
He can still be a good player for us.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I mean, he's a solid player. I think as Joe Girardi said, he's not going to be at that same level, but at least he's going to be a solid player. You just know. His defense really just took a big hit. Later in his time with Pittsburgh, when they originally had him in center field and they moved him to left field due to his as I said, his decline in defense. So. I get that, so I'm really looking forward to a big year out of Andrew McCutchen. So, Noah, thanks so much for coming on. I'm glad we could have this talk, man. It's been a while.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, you should come back on, during a Phillies game recap, man. That'd be fun.
I would love to.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, just send me up. All right, guys, thank you so much for watching this video. Please subscribe if you have not yet. Please turn on the notification bell. Please like this video, comment on this video, share this video. Check out the social media link in the description section at Phillies House of Instagram, TikTok, our everything's Instagram, card text 267-225-3392, emailing phillieshouse@gmail.com. Guys, today I was joined by Noah. Once again, Noah, thank you so much, man.
Thanks for having me.
All right, guys, thanks so much for watching. I'm Luke, and I'll talk to y'all later. I'll see you.